Good afternoon, friends. My name is Ivan Vuk-Pavlovic. This is the fourth broadcast of the Sartorial Shut-In. It is April 7th, 2020. We are here in Austin, Texas now on day 15 of the stay-in-place order due to the coronavirus. I've been doing this series in an effort to pass time to discuss my passion for menswear, and today we are going to go through my shoe collection, talk about the styles, talk about how I like to wear them, talk about what led me to select the shoe collection that I've ultimately wound up with, and also, talk about some notable omissions from my collection and why I chose not to do certain styles. So, what I'd like to do is actually go from the most formal on down and discuss it that way. And funnily enough, the most formal shoe that I own, technically, I use in the most informal way. I've discussed this shoe before. It is my velvet opera slipper, which these days is considered in just about any situation suitable for black tie wear. It used to be only in very specific black tie, tuxedo, dinner jacket situations, but now these days people are more or less getting away with it anywhere. I mean, bear in mind that these days in Texas, for example, people are wearing tuxedos with bolo ties and cowboy boots. At any rate, those are my house slippers. If I should ever get invited to a black tie event, which I don't anticipate, I at least have some shoes that I can technically wear. Though I would probably do a very high gloss shine on a different pair of shoes, hoping that they pass for patent leather and opt for that route instead. So, having said that, let's talk about what I, practically speaking, consider my most formal pair of shoes and what makes them that way. These are my plain toe black Oxfords. Now, terms like Oxford, Derby, Blucher get thrown around a lot today interchangeably, and they aren't. An Oxford or Balmoral laced shoe is distinguished by its closed lacing system. You will notice that the laces and the facing, as we call it, the part of the shoe that contains the eyelets for the shoelace, come to a point at the very bottom and close up all the way as you lace them. That is considered the most formal lacing silhouette. Not to be confused with the Derby, which, let me see if I have a more obvious one, has an open laced system where those two facings don't touch. That is considered a less formal option. Now, this has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of a Balmoral shoe is that it has a very, very sleek silhouette, and it comes off as very, very formal. However, because it's meant to come together all the way, some people with very high insteps, meaning the top part of the foot, find them very uncomfortable. In fact, some with very high insteps cause the two sides to not actually touch, but remain in a V shape, which isn't ideal. Those people are likely just best served by derby or blucher style shoes, and I'll discuss the difference momentarily, or perhaps going custom or dealing with a shoe manufacturer that deals with high instep models specifically. Now, when would I wear that black plain toe Oxford? Essentially, that is my go-to shoe for when I'm going to evening events in a suit. It is, I think, the ideal cocktail attire shoe. Anything more casual in the evening, I will likely stick to a black shoe, whether it's a derby or a blucher, or even a loafer, depending on the informality of the event. But for any event in the evening, I opt for a black shoe. If the event is during the day, say a daytime wedding, where you still want to wear a nice suit and be very, very dressed up, I will generally opt for the chocolate brown version of the exact same shoe. What is the next step down in formality? To me, it is the business dress, you know, when you're wearing a suit during the day for business purposes. That opens up the gates quite a bit as far as what is acceptable and isn't. And by the way, when I say acceptable, these days you can wear whatever you want. I'm strictly speaking in terms of my own taste, and also I'm strictly speaking in the context of being in a large city. I'm seldom outside of a large city. Country where has its own set of rules and regulations that you may or may not abide by. Resort wear, also the same thing. I'm talking about city living. Okay, the next step down in formality is the cap toe Oxford. You'll notice closed-laced system, same thing, but it has the addition of a cap on the toe. This dresses it down ever so slightly, although most people still consider it a very, very formal shoe, and is the ubiquitous American business wear shoe. 4 of the last 6 presidents were inaugurated in specifically this model shoe by this manufacturer. Reagan, George Sr., and Clinton, and GW. Incidentally, Reagan was the last person to be inaugurated in a stroller suit. Everybody else since him, including Reagan for his second inauguration, was in a regular business leisure suit. I have the black cap toe, the brown cap toe, which is wonderful for day wear, and the burgundy or oxblood cap toe. These closed-laced Oxford Balmoral type shoes I generally reserve only for wearing with a nested suit, meaning where the trousers and the jacket and the vest, if it's a 3-piece, are all cut from the exact same cloth. I don't like to, for business wear or semi-formal wear, essentially anytime I'm wearing a tie, I don't like to wear anything else. I don't like to get into loafers. I don't like to get into derbies. When I'm wearing a suit casually, and that is something that we will, a couple of episodes from now, discuss, then all bets are off. You can wear many, many other things. But for my tastes, I stick with closed-lace Oxford shoes for any look in a suit where I'm in a tie as well. Now, let's talk about derbies versus bluchers. They both feature an open lay system, but here's the difference. The back of a shoe is called the quarter. The front is called the vamp. If there's a distinct, I don't know if you can see this, a distinct line here that separates the quarter from the vamp, that shoe is a derby and is originally a British design. If the quarter extends all the way back, and the vamp, and there essentially is no quarter, it's all one piece, and then the facing is just two pieces of leather stitched on for the shoe eyelets, that is a blucher. And that is a Prussian design. In fact, it was named after the general, von Blücher, who commissioned the shoe for his army to have his soldiers in something they can take on and off quickly, or at least quicker than their boots. It is also notable to say that General von Blücher was instrumental, or I should say, took part in defeating Napoleon at Waterloo, and essentially one of the factors leading to Napoleon's demise. Was it because of the shoes? We'll never know. At any rate, both are fantastic for more casual looks. I wear them with sports coats and slacks. You can wear them with chinos. You can wear them with jeans. It is a very, very versatile type of shoe. I have my black derby, my dark brown derby, my black blucher, my oxblood blucher, and then my light brown derby. And you know, one of the I like all sorts of shoes. I like very classic shoes, but one silhouette that I really enjoy, that most in menswear don't, is what I consider the old man shoe, like a really chunky kind of thing. So these fall into that category, and I just love to wear them with like some nice flannel trousers and a patterned sports coat. Makes me feel like I'm 80 in the best way possible. These are part of the Allen Edmonds line that are kind of structured to have a very, very soft insole. So they're very, very comfortable and have that kind of silhouette. So this is really a great, great old man shoe. Again, those I will wear with anything from slacks to chinos. You can wear them with jeans. I don't wear jeans much, but a very, very versatile shoe. And I'll wear black and brown during the day. If I'm wearing that style in the evening, I tend to stick to black. If I'm going to like an event, if I'm just meeting someone for a drink after work, I don't worry about it too much. Okay, what is the step down from a derby or blucher as far as my collection is concerned? Is the loafer. Now, a lot of people think that a loafer is any shoe that slips on, and often they call them slip-ons. That's not quite true. All loafers are slip-ons, but not all slip-ons are loafers. Let's discuss. A loafer is kind of a hybrid between a moccasin and a dress shoe. It will have a proper sole with a heel on it, but it will also have this kind of stitching that comes from the moccasin. Most, not all, but most will also have a strap of leather going across the instep, which is called a saddle. Perhaps the most popular model of loafer, at least in the United States, is the penny loafer. where its saddle features a little slot where, you know, students in the 20s and 30s, in Ivy League schools especially, would slip a penny in there. Some people think it's maybe as a fashion statement. Some people think that it was for emergency phone calls when public phones, A, existed, and B, cost a penny or two. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but it is an absolute staple in the American Ivy and the American preppy style of dress. These are my black ones that I love to wear with a black blazer, a white button-down collar shirt, light gray slacks. I think it's a very elegant but relaxed look. Also with my light silver gray suit, these guys, and turtleneck, black, I think is a very kind of beatnik 60s kind of vibe. I really like a penny loafer. I'm also wearing the brown versions of these. In fact, I would say that apart from the sweater, which is a little bit more preppy or a little bit more Brit, I am in a very, very Ivy style outfit today. I've got my Brooks Brothers button-down collar, Oxford cloth button-down shirt. I've got my chinos. I've got my penny loafers. I've got my Wayfarer glasses. You know, that's about as Ivy as it gets. The only thing that would make it more Ivy is that if I had a crew neck sweater instead of this cardigan. At any rate, loafers are fantastic. You can dress down a suit with them. A lot of businessmen, especially in finance in New York, will wear specifically bit loafers, which we're about to get into. I'm not crazy about that look in business wear. I would much rather see a businessman that I deal with wear an Oxford pair, but to each his own. I do wear loafers with suits when I'm dressing them down, when I'm wearing them without a tie. I think that's a great look. They look great with chinos, great with jeans. People who wear shorts a lot of times will wear loafers with them. So we've talked about the penny loafer. Let's talk about the horsebit loafer, or the Gucci loafer. I forget if it was the 50s or 60s, but Aldo Gucci designed the Gucci horsebit loafer. It is a classic loafer with the addition of this, essentially what looks like a horse bit across the vamp in the saddle. This caught on very quickly, especially in business circles. I have it in black, I have it in brown. I wear it mostly with chinos, or if I'm dressing down a suit. With slacks, I tend to go with either my pennies or Derbies, Bluchers, stuff like that. I don't know why, but I also haven't had these that long. And then finally, this is one of my loudest pairs of shoes, and I was wearing them 2 broadcasts ago. My Donald Pliner ostrich navy bit loafers. These are my go-tos for anytime I'm wearing linen. I will wear them with chinos, seersucker, that sort of thing. And that essentially brings us to the end of what I would consider anything that I own with a proper dress sole on it. Now we move into some other things. This is my pair of dress sneakers. These are black leather with a white sole. These I wear a lot when I'm dressing down a suit. This with like a t-shirt underneath and a suit, you're basically Miami Vice all day long, right? I'll wear them with 5-pocket pants, the one pair I have. I will sometimes wear them with chinos, but It's definitely a very relaxed vibe, in my world anyway. And I'm thinking about picking up another pair in brown, because I do enjoy the black ones quite a bit. These are my actual athletic sneakers that I almost never wear. I used to go to the gym, on a regular basis. That hasn't happened in a while, but I own them, so I figured I'd show them to you. But they are what they are. They're gym shoes. We've talked about these, my espadrilles. I love these with linen. I love these with seersucker. This is very much an outdoor shoe. It's a beach shoe. It's a lake house shoe. It's a daytime shoe. Anytime you want to put off a very, very relaxed, casual vibe, these are fantastic. We've also talked about these before. My pool shoes. These are literally shoes that I will throw on. I don't even know if I would wear these to the pool. This is what I throw on when I'm lazy and need to take the dog out to do her business. And then finally, my slippers. We've talked about these before. Finally, I'd like to talk about general care for leather dress shoes. I fall into the camp that doesn't like a lot of gloss. I don't like to see myself in shoes. In fact, if leather is really high quality, full grain leather, I actually like to see the texture of the leather as opposed to some superficial shine on it. So as such, I don't shine my shoes very often. I do when they get a scuff that's visible and I need to, get that out, stuff like that. But for the most part, every few weeks or so, I will simply condition them. And I can show you what that entails. I find that just keeps them very looking nice, feeling good, etc. You'll also notice that, most of my shoes have shoe trees in them, which is very important. I need to pick up a couple more pair because I'm a couple short. But that keeps the shape of the shoe, and also the cedar helps dry out the shoe after a day of wear, and the aromatic nature of the cedar also does away with any perspiration odors. But as I said, every few weeks, every couple of months, whatnot, I will take some shoe conditioner. My favorite is Big 4. Cadillac is also a good brand. You can, in Austin, pick this up anywhere that deals with Western wear and boots, like Allen boots, Cavenders, things like that. It's usually about $20 for a bottle that lasts me a year or two. Now, these haven't had it in a while, so we'll just do these real quick. I have my trusty rag that I use only for conditioning my shoes. I put about a dime size splotch, that's a technical term, on it, and I just rub it into the shoe, making sure that I get all the little nooks and crannies and crevices of it. That's about it. And I let that dry out a little bit, usually just enough time to do the other shoe. And depending on how long it's been, these weren't so bad, so I didn't use a lot. Sometimes when I feel like the leather's getting really dry, I'll use more, maybe like a quarter size, a little dollop. And then as they dry, and because I didn't use a lot of conditioner this time, these are pretty much ready to go. I take my trusty horsehair brush and just give them a nice buff. Usually I do this in the morning, right before I put them on. As you can see, it usually takes me a minute or two. It's not a big ordeal. These are good to go. If you notice that the sides of the soles are scratched, I like to use a little bit what they call edge dressing. You can get it at any decent shoe store or online for a few bucks. And that just, it's kind of like lipstick for the edge of your sole. And you know, I have it in black and a couple of shades of brown, depending. And that keeps your shoes looking nice and fresh. So shoe trees, conditioning, and finally using a shoe horn so that you don't crush the back of your shoes when you get them on your feet. With a high quality shoe, they will last sometimes decades. And you know, most of my dress shoes, not all, but most are either Goodyear welted or Blake stitched, which means that the construction allows them to be easily resoled. And most of these shoes can be resoled good 3-4 times. So if you keep a nice rotation, so you're not really wearing them out needlessly, and you keep them conditioned, you keep shoe trees in them, you use a shoe horn when you put them on, and all of that, they will really last a very, very long time. All right, the next broadcast will be this Saturday, the 11th at 2 p.m. It will deal with cocktail attire, what it is, why you would wear it, etc. And until then, thank you once again. Please, if you have any questions or comments, you know where to do that on the Facebook post. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much.